Sarvendra Srivastava is with us. Let me just quickly ask him how he'd see the market. We also have Ambareesh Baliga and K. Subramaniam joining in. Good morning to all of you. Ambareesh, good to see you. As always, Subramaniam, good to have you here. Sarvendra, let's start with you. How would you see things as we kick off? You think drift down a little bit?
Yeah, good morning, Prashant. I think clearly the markets are kind of in a kind of an extended zone, and there's definitely some profit taking and pressure which can be seen. And yes, the international legs, the international sessions are also now kind of throwing that risk at you that yes, those markets can also correct. And now that all the events that we had are over, our big event is over, now I think we will fall in line with what the international peers will do. The MSCI World Index, I think, is losing steam. Momentum is clearly now rolling over there as well. So I think this should be a broad, overall broad correction across the globe once it sets in. In our case, we still don't have confirmation in the sense that we are still holding 7580. So as long as 7580 is being held, I maintain that there's an outside chance that you do that projection target area at around 7800 to 8000. So you might go and meet that range. But beyond that, as I said earlier also, I don't see much. So the more you get close to that target range, the more negative the risk rewards become. So from there on, as I said, I would kind of want to book out all the longs and stay out of the market, say for a session or so, and then reassess. What we do at 78 is very, very important. Or if the high is already printed now, 7700 is the number that we already have, 100 points away from that target range. There could, if the global market starts to sell off, which they have already started to do over the last two sessions, and they also have a very, very crucial weekly close ahead. We also have a very crucial weekly close ahead in the fact that we have hardly made any headroom from where we closed last week. So are we going to kind of push ahead, or we get a negative close today? If that's the case, then as I said, probably 7700 also could be the undoing for Nifty.
Okay, got it. Crucial weekly close. Let's just run through trades. ITC, AB Nuvo and DLF, Sarvendra.
Yes, I think slightly defensive in the stance. So ITC, I think apart from the pair, if people are holding, I think anybody wants to do plain vanilla ITC makes a lot of sense here because it's there in that trading band between a 330 to a 360. So I'll expect a move back towards around 360 for ITC, and keep a stop loss there at 327.40 and take that long trade for the next 5 to 6 working days.
AB Nuvo.
Yeah, this one I think still some upside spending here. So this probably could be on AB Nuvo also. Within this move, this could be the penultimate correction, and now probably the last leg up could unfold. So around 1500 to 1520 is where I think AB Nuvo can achieve as targets over the next week or so. And for the trade, I will want to keep a stop loss at 1394.
DLF, Sarvendra.
This one I think clearly, I think had a dream run, so now due for a correction. I'm not saying any large decline, but at least a correction back towards 200 is what is likely here. So I would more a reiteration of a view that I carry. So I'll want to take that trade, very decent and very good risk reward right now. Keep a stop at 231.60. Look for those targets in the area of around 200, 202. I think very, very doable for DLF going forward.
Infosys, Sarvendra, I remember you said yesterday, I mean, closing as well, it's a good sell.
Yes, I think Infi, see, I don't much like to trade Infi, but since I was asked for a call, I think it's clearly failing at that long-term 200-day marker, and yesterday's move was also a case in point. And I was just going through its history over the last from end of 2011. I think it has got 13-14 gaps at an average of 5 to 6%, and all of them have been kind of just against the trend, or they've come out of nowhere. So I think the quality is very, very suspect here. I don't know the reasons. The company is a good company, but technically I think this stock is losing favor as far as I am concerned. 27,2800 is the target, as you said. If at all I have to short it, 27,2800 are the targets, and I would keep a stop at around 2320. That's a slightly wider stop, just because the stock is got a bad habit of taking you by surprise for a day or so. So 2320 stop loss. Anybody wants to do that? A target of around 27 to 2800 on Infi.
Sarvendra, hang in there. Subramaniam is with us and Ambareesh Baliga is with us as well. Gentlemen, thanks for waiting. What's your sense? Market first, a little sideways, or you think it'll come up again? By the way, you had, after a really long time, IIP, which grew more than, I think, 0.5% or 1%. Yeah. I think you had some 3.5% growth. And of course, inflation has cooled a little bit as well. Yeah.
Right. My view is again clearly with this, Sarvendra. I think that the market should top out sooner or later. Making money was not so easy in the last 6 years, but then the last 6 weeks you could just pick up any stock and you have made money. Nearly 90% of the stocks which are quoted in the markets have risen in the last 1 month, and out of which you have nearly 115, 120 multi-baggers which have actually gained more than 100% in the last 1 month. This is too good to be true, and it just can't continue like this. So I think markets are like ripe for correction. So I think it's time possibly to book out to a certain extent and just stay out stay out with cash.
You're saying stay out. Subramani, you would agree with that view? What's your sense?
I broadly agree with Sarvendra as well as Ambareesh. Couple of statistics also I would like to throw in. Last 1 week we have seen something like 2 to 2.5 million rise in Nifty futures, and the premium has also shrunk. And my sense is that we are seeing some shorts or hedging or whatever you may call it, which probably hints that we are heading for some sort of downside. And secondly, normally we have had such a strong bull run, and along the way we have always seen some very strong put rating happening. Now this is absent the last 1 week. So my sense is people are becoming a bit tentative. So I think that 7550 level probably looks a little vulnerable right now. And of course, correction.
7650.
No, in fact, I think we had at the blowout of around that, around 50-70 points. That looks a bit vulnerable, and probably we could be heading towards that 75-50 mark before the budget, which I think broadly should be a healthy trend, and probably some cooling off would be well on cards, and probably make the market more healthy. So I think broadly agree the sense that we have to be a bit careful and probably look to book profits or do some sort of hedging in this market, which has already run up quite a lot.
Right. I don't know if there's a bit of groupthink happening here. Everybody agreeing with everybody else. Just for the heck of it, I would have said, because all of you guys are saying, well, the market will halt here, it'll keep rallying. But I don't really believe that. So, but anyway, that's what bulls will say, for sure, right? As long as there are doubters and there are people who say, well, it's too much, too soon, too fast, it won't stop, and we'll be past 8,000 by budget. That's what. Before I'll come back to all of you, I'll just take a quick look at a couple of stocks here. Hero MotoCorp. So let's just quickly run through this list here. Hero MotoCorp, Bain Capital is the book opened yesterday evening, by the way, and I'm being told that there's good demand for it, for the Hero Motors stock. Bain Capital, which held about 8% in the company, opened an offering in which it wants to sell about 4% of the 8% it holds, 50%. So that's the shares were offered with a discount up to 5%. So we'll have the final price in a bit. The block deal on the exchange will happen as markets open today. Tata Motors, the wholesale number, May for the month of May, JLR wholesale numbers came in at about 39,000 units, largely in line with estimates. Edelweiss had a big jump yesterday. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has bought 1 crore shares. ADF Foods, that's ADF Foods, a couple of people have bought in. Nikhil Vora, formerly with IDFC, now has his own consumer fund. He's bought shares personally, about 2.5 lakh shares. Lashit Sanghvi, Alchemy Capital, has bought about 5.5 lakh shares. And there's another gentleman, Thakkar Bimal Ramesh, who's bought about 9 lakh odd shares or so. He already owns a fair bit of ADF Foods. Steel Authority of India, wage hikes, wage revisions happen in a 5-yearly cycle. The Steel Ministry has approved a 17% hike in basic and DNS allowance for Steel Authority of India employees. Lanco Infra has seen a 1200 megawatt Udupi plant shut down. That's in the state of Karnataka. That's due to unavailability of coal. So just wanted to quickly run through some of these names. Ambareesh, you still have a few names here. Things like Solar Industries as well. Actually, talk about that. Solar Industries.
Solar is into industrial explosives and nearly 30% market share. Defense expenditure is increasing, which is positive for solar. Ammonium nitrate has been classified as explosive, so the grey market actually closes down, which is again positive for solar industries, and that is clearly shown in the performance in the last couple of quarters, and especially the last 2 years. And we expect FY16 EPS to be about 110. This stock has doubled in the past couple of months, but we still feel that we could see levels of closer to about 2000. We are looking at an EPS of about 110, like I said, for FY16. So, doesn't look expensive, although it's not too cheap. There's still upside for that stock.
There was some talk about import duty on, I think, photovoltaic cells being removed, right? There's an import duty right now, I guess. I don't know, I've not tracked it, but I recall reading something to that effect. And that helped Moser Beer for the last many years. That duty. Now there's talk that should be taken out. So how would that impact? How significant will that be for a company like Solar Industries?
No, solar industries is not into solar power. It is into explosives, so it doesn't have any effect at all.
It's into okay, all right, fair enough. These are 2006, 2007 stocks, and then they didn't go anywhere. So I guess I'll have to refresh, get a refresher course on some of these names. But it's at a new high, Ambareesh, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's at a new high. The momentum is extremely good. But like I said, it is not cheap. It has doubled in the last couple of months. But then upside is another at least 175, 200 rupees from here. So basically, one could look at from a momentum angle also.
Okay. The other one is DCB, and there's RIL, which you like as well. Just quickly run us through DCB.
DCB again, recommendation had come at closer to about 40, 42 levels, and that time I had a target of about 70, 75. That has been achieved. Now we have revised the target to about 90 to 95. Again, performance has been in line with what our expectations have been, which has been rising every quarter, because if you see the last 10 quarters consistently outperformance. So I think even at these levels one could still buy. I think the downside is not beyond 60 to 65 for this. So even the current levels one could look at buying with a target of about 90, 95. Reliance again has been my favorite for quite a while. When no one was recommending, even at levels of 720, 750, we've been thumping the table and saying it's a buy. Gas pricing would be a game changer for this, and that should happen sooner than later. I think the next couple of weeks.
Coming back to you, Sarvendra, DCB and RIL, and of course the first one was Solar Industries. Markets have opened. I think Nifty is up about 20 points or so. Sensex is up 105. Let's just take a look at what's coming up on your screen in terms of prices. Power Grid is up 1%. Coal India is up 1%. IDFC is up about 3/4. DLF is up about 0.6. ONGC is up nearly 1. 433. Coal India 1. Tata Motors is down 0.5%. Reliance Industries is up 1%. We've got Sesa Sterlite 1/3%, a quarter higher now. Sun Pharma is up 1/3. BPCL 2% lower, 588.5. HDFC Limited flat. ICICI Bank 3/4 higher. Bharti Airtel 0.2 lower. Bharti lost yesterday, some 4%. Mahindra and Mahindra down up about 0.12. Bank of Baroda is up about 0.25%. Tech Mahindra is up. TCS is down 1.5%. SBI is down 1/3. Lever is down 0.5%. Wipro is down 0.5%. Nifty, which started about 20 points higher, has got about 5 points left, 4 points left so far. So let's see where it goes. Is just around 7650 at this stage. I think that Hero MotoCorp block deal, Bain selling about 50% of what it holds, has also happened on the NSE. I think so. Volumes are about what 260,000 shares or so on Hero MotoCorp. 2725 is the price right now. That's a 0.25% higher. So there's not very much by way of change. BHEL is a top gainer. Kane India is up 1.5. L&T is up 1%. ONGC is up about 1%. And you got Reliance Industries, which is up about 0.5% as well. BHEL 2% now, 5 odd rupees higher. 26 stocks up, 24 down. First 2 minutes into open, BHEL keeps climbing. It's up 6.5 rupees now, so that's 2.5%. The others are, higher. Kane is up 1.5, but others are all just under 1%. Larsen Coal, ONGC, Bank of Baroda, Tata Power, etc. Unlike the last 2 or 3 days where, tech, pharma, some consumer names did well, today it's all mostly old economy names. Capital goods, oil and gas, mineral, material, mining companies. What's down? BPCL is down 1.7, 10 rupees. TCS is down 1.6. HCL Tech is down 1. Tata Motors is down 1. Bharti is down 0.9. Hindalco is down 3/4. Maruti 0.5% plus. Wipro, HDFC Limited and Lever 0.5% down each. So that's what you have. Yeah, I just want to quickly put up Edelweiss, I think, which is up about 0.5% or 5% or so, 5-6% or so. So that was up 10 yesterday. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has bought a 1 odd crore share lot yesterday. What do you have? So mid cap, Ashok Leyland, let's just put this name up, 34.5 rupees, 2.25% higher. Crompton Greaves is up 2%, 211. Petronet is up about 2%. So let me repeat. Ashok Leyland the first one. Crompton on your screen. Petronet about 2%. Jammu and Kashmir Bank about 1.5%. About 26 rupees, 1655. Tata Global Beverages 1.5%. Union Bank of India 1.5%. You got IFCI, which is up 1 1/3. PFC is up 1 1/4. Then you have Reliance Capital, which is up 1%. OBC, Oriental Bank of Commerce and Syndicate Bank, both up 1% plus. Jain Irrigation is up about 1% as well. So that's what you have. I'm just looking at the CNX 100 list of stocks. So oil marketing, BPCL out of the Nifty 50 was down. HP is down 2% as well. That's about it. And Lanco Infratech is down about 3% or so right now. And I'll look at micro caps, small caps in a bit from now. Subramaniam, why don't you run us through what you would like to do? I see that you've got 2 names, Godrej Industries and SAIL. You expect the market to come off to about 75.50 or so, as you said. It's back to being flat, 25 odd points off the open high right now. But let's just run through the 2 names.
Yeah, to begin with, we have got a buy on Godrej Industries. Now that's chartically also shown some sort of breakout, and yesterday it closed above 340, and we feel that buying could be considered at some levels of 335, 340. Possible target of 355, maybe a stop loss of 330. The second one is a sell recommendation on Steel Authority of India. Now that has seen some long unwinding this week, and we feel that could be heading towards maybe sub 100 levels, and probably some sort of profiting could be expected, and one could possibly keep a stop loss of maybe 106 or 107. So these are 2 calls which come to mind in this market.
Okay, SAIL and Godrej Industries. Let's just put up Amtech India. Amtech India is up 6% again. We spoke with Amtech Auto Management, the parent, 2 days back. Both Amtech India and Auto have done phenomenally well. And there's been some buzz and rumor about a potential impending merger, which was flat out denied by the management. They said there's no real plan, there's no real operational benefit. There could be some financial benefit, but there's no real operational synergy or benefit actually in merging Amtech India and Amtech Auto. Stocks are looking up right now as well. Global Spirits is up 4.5%. Just putting a couple of other names. I just mentioned a few. Edelweiss still up. Kane up about 2%. Escorts is up about 1.5%. Unitech is up 2.5% now, so a little more. So that's how it goes. Ambareesh, so Solar Industries, DCB and RIL are the 3 names. Just come in on a name like ONGC. How would you look at ONGC from here?
ONGC again at these levels I'll not buy. I'll just wait for a correction and get into the stock at lower levels. Subsidies anyway should be on the way down going ahead, and that should be positive for ONGC. Also the gas price revision. So I think at lower level I'll look at it, but not at these levels, since I already have an exposure on Reliance.
What about Power Grid?
Power Grid again, I think, that stock hasn't really performed as well as the markets would have expected that too. But then now I think it should do that catch up. Possibly we could see some more upside. In fact, I see that moving up at least by another 15-18 rupees from the current levels in the next couple of weeks.
PFC, REC?
Again, in line with what I said about Power Grid, I think these two stocks and also NTPC, which again hasn't really performed as well as the rest of the PSU space. So even NTPC, I see a very decent upside. In fact, even at the current levels, one could look at buying possibly with a price target of about 185, 190.
You know, you spoke about solar industries. What about things like BEML, BEL?
BEML, in fact, become a multi-bagger again because of the defense flavor as far as that stock is concerned. So I think at these levels it seems a bit on the expensive side. So I'll not really buy BEML at the current levels.
Okay, fair enough. TCS, by the way, is down about 1.6% right now. It's a top loser on the Nifty. It's followed by BPCL, Tata Motors, Wipro, and Bharti at this stage. Gainers. BHEL has added on a little bit more. It's up 7.5 rupees, so 3%. By the way, it got to nearly 300, actually 290 or so was the high on BHEL, recent high. It's at 251. And then you've got Kane India, which is up $8. Coal India is up 1.5%. Power Grid is up 1.5%, and Tata Power is up about 1.25% as well. Sarvendra, thoughts on Open, Nifty Open? Anything one can do right now?
Not much that you would be wanting to do till you are in this range 7580 to 7700 on the Nifty. But yes, I would still hold on those, maintain those buys, and as long as 7580 is being held, I would still believe that you have a chance to probably do some 100, 200 points higher from the 7700 that we have printed. So that can be the case because even once everything is turning globally, I think you can still give every market would realign in say 2-3 sessions. So those 2-3 sessions itself in our case could be 100 to 200 points higher on the Nifty. So anybody wanting to trade from here on the long side, 7580 decisively is the stop loss. There's no other stop loss that you will find right now which can give you a decent risk reward. So 7580 is the number to look at. Below 7580, I think one shot on a closing basis, one shot, I think all the longs, trading longs. I'm not talking about a portfolio kind of a pick or a portfolio mix here. All your trading longs below 7580 on a closing basis on the long side should be out.
Let's just put the Infosys intraday. I mean, you know, it's I think lost about $50 from the gap up high. Started today at about 31.90. We're at about 31.45 right now. So yeah. Ambareesh, any thoughts on Infi?
I think this stock had moved up again based on that buyback at 3,800 and Nilekani's talk 2 days back, and because of which post this announcement of Sika, we saw a slight upside, and then we have seen that correction. So I think this correction will continue a while longer. We should see levels of possibly closer to levels of about 2,950, 3,000 for that stock.
The general wave of support for Infosys is kind of perceptibly shifted. It's not there anymore. Now there are more doubters on Infosys, and it's actually even in the worst of times you'd find enough people to stand up and say, well, Infi is Infi, and Mr. Murthy is Mr. Murthy, and he'll turn things around. He's out now. We've got a new man at the top, but I guess the support has waned definitely. And now, of course, it trades at a big discount to TCS. Big discount, actually. But still, it's more down than up right now. Sarvendra, have you looked at overnight markets, oil prices, etc.? News, Barack Obama saying, well, Iraq is a problem again. They suddenly woken up to it.
Yes, I think anything probably coming right now could be a crude shock, in the sense that the WTI now is wanting to break out decisively from a very long kind of a supply area. So 104, 105 was typically something that the WTI was not able to cross. WTI and not the Brent. I'm talking about the WTI crude, and now it's been consistently been trading over the last one session, been trading above that number, and now I think it's very close to $107. So for me, I think that could be one dark area that's still not clear. But if at all it shoots up from here, 125 is also within reach. So that is where I think there's some nervousness creeping in as far as the global markets are concerned. I was looking at some put call parities on the US markets as well, and I think you have just less than, you have around 46 puts to 100 calls in US, and that ratio is at some of the historical lows as far as the US markets are concerned. So there's lot of complacency as far as the US markets are concerned. It's very under hedged, there's no put activity, and the sentiment itself is almost 90-95% bulls there, and that reading has held for the last 12 months. So I think there is definitely and I have maintained that a wave 4 correction which I am anticipating as far as the US market is concerned has got a stealth mode or a surprise element to it, and people are still not expecting. Dow can crash, as I said, 2,000, 3,000 points in a jiffy, and if that is the case, I don't see any market globally which will not get affected. Barring apart silver and gold, I think silver and gold are making a move. Barring apart crude, as I said, that could be a shock. Gold, silver, somebody is cornering silver and gold, because silver and gold have completed their 10-year cycles. They are at the lows, oversold, and the sentiment is extremely negative over there. So I think it's a time for that trade to correct. I think you should be long gold, silver, and short equities globally if someone can do that trade. I think that should be a fantastic trade to hold for the next 1 month at least.
Right. But a near-term one, right? Otherwise, I mean, you've long said, well, best of gold is behind us.
Yeah, 1 to 2 months can be this duration, because a sharp correction around 2,000 points, 2 to 3,000 points on Dow Jones to kind of correct and then stabilize will take 1 to 2 months. Yes, it will be a fairly short-lived sharp correction whenever it happens. The only thing is, has it started over the last 2 days? I think yes, it's started. Let's see the weekly close today and what it makes as a pattern, and I think it's already started.
Right. Ambareesh should agree with that. Things like gold, I mean, Indians are big investors, buyers.
2 months, I think one can do that trade, short possibly equities and go long gold. But then this is basically for traders, not for investors. Long term, if you're talking of the next 4-5 years, we are quite bullish on the equity markets, especially the Indian equity markets. And I think, if we have a correction, if we have a decent correction, that's the time to start buying quality stocks at lower levels.
Fair enough. Subramanian, any other thoughts? Thoughts on market open? What would you like to say?
Yeah, I think broadly, I think the in terms of expectation that 7,700 level is going to be critical. So I think I would rather go into some sort of cautious mode and maybe do some sort of hedging, maybe buy a 7,600 strike put or a 7,700 strike put, wait for some downside. We still have the expiry about 2 weeks away. So I think I would play that way along rather than buying any aggressive long positions at the current juncture.
Ambareesh, Subramaniam and Sarvendra, thanks very much, all of you. Appreciate you coming in. Let's take our first break post-open. Have a good weekend, gentlemen. See you back soon. Sarvendra, of course, comes back a little later with more on the market, which is actually now absolutely flat. We're coming back on the other side with news on Hero MotoCorp.